Here are 8 things that made me get all A's, and I know for a fact they'll do the same for you if you do them. Number 1, literally just be honest with yourself. Here's the truth. Most people lie to themselves. They make excuses for why their grade is bad. Your grade is your fault no matter what.
But I couldn't take the exam, so I failed.
If you had 100 in the class, would you really fail the class? No. So don't act like one thing messed you up. It was a small accumulation of little mistakes over a period of time. You can't fix what you won't admit, so admit your grade is a reflection of how much you care about the class. Once you start realizing that, you choose the class over things that won't help you. I realized this, so I had to break down every part of how I was studying. Was I consistent? Did I actually test myself? Did I sleep properly after I studied? Then I looked at my real habits, and I realized I was doing things that seem good, but actually is not good. I was rereading notes for hours. I was cramming the night before, doing 2 a.m. study session. I was watching study tips instead of actually studying. And that's not the best way to study. So I changed that. And so should you. I asked, what should I do? And more importantly, what should I not do? Number 2, the 48-hour rule. The most important part about learning is consistency. Staying consistent throughout the whole semester is the most important thing about studying. So I use this thing called the 48-hour rule. It basically means never let a class go untouched for 48 hours. That's it. Just get your brain to stay consistent in doing those actions. Do a 20-minute review, 5 practice problems, rewrite key concepts. Just do something to re-wake that brain. Consistency beats intensity. Cramming feels productive, but it's not giving your brain enough time to condition to the material. Cramming may pass you the exam, but consistency will pass you the class. Number 3, train for anxiety. Exams are the biggest difference between passing the class and being at the top of the class. And most students take exams anxious and underprepared. But good students like you will know that and prepare for the anxiety. But what does that mean? Don't just go over the notes, simulate the environment. You shouldn't just study the chapters for the exam, because exams aren't only knowledge tests. It's a performance test under pressure, so train that way. If it's paper-based, print the problems, set a timer, do the same number of questions, but give yourself less time. A good example is like preparing for a driver's test. If you study all the ins and outs of driving a car, but you never drive it, you're gonna fail the test. So prepare for the environment that's taking place. And practicing under pressure makes the real exam feel easier. Anxiety comes from uncertainty. If your brain already has seen that environment multiple times, it doesn't panic. It recognizes it, and when your brain recognizes something, it relaxes. And that's how you study to be less anxious on the exams and actually feel over-prepared. Number 4, the pyramid review. You shouldn't study right before the exam. That means not studying 3 days before, not 5 days before, but you should actually study 10 days before the exam. And here's how you should do it. It's called the pyramid review. You basically study in a pyramid style. On day 1, you start with the hardest unit. You basically go in the deep end and try to master the hardest section you have. Then on day 2, you add the next hardest unit. But here's the key, you don't abandon day 1, you stack it. You do a lighter review of that first unit, and then you go all in on that new section. Now day 3, you add the next unit. Every day you're stacking. By the time you reach day 10, you're reviewing all the units. But you've seen the hardest topics the most. So the hardest becomes the easiest, and the easiest still gets a review. That's the pyramid. You're balancing your weaknesses instead of overstudying for stuff you already know. And the best way to practice this pyramid method is by recreating the environment. Number 5, active recall. Active recall is a learning technique that basically forces your brain to retrieve information rather than passively reviewing it. So if studying feels easy, then you're doing it wrong. Your brain is like a muscle, so you should have to push that muscle. Active recall does that. That means doing things like blurting, doing whiteboard practice, explaining key concepts out loud, teaching an imaginary class, doing things that will activate your brain. And if you can teach it, that means you understand it. The thing that works best for me is teaching an imaginary class. I know it sounds cringe, but imagine there's a whole class in front of you and you're the professor. If you can teach it, then you master the content. And recognize this, different subjects require different strategies. For math, practice problems would be the best, but for classes that are memory heavy, maybe doing flashcards is better. So matching the method to the material will actually make you better while making it faster. Number 6, sleep is not optional. Now this is important. You can't outwork a fried brain. If you don't sleep, all that studying becomes inefficient. Like I said, your brain is a muscle. You train it when you study and grow it when you go to sleep. Studying without recovery is just a burnout in disguise. Pulling an all-nighter doesn't mean you're disciplined. It just means you weren't consistent. And now you're paying for it. Number 7, the boring part. An academic comeback sounds heroic. It's not. It's easier to wait till the end of the semester than be consistent, but that's not gonna help you. Your semester should be like running a marathon. Would you sprint the first mile in a marathon? No. Right now, if you're behind, you might need to increase your pace, but never sprint. Stopping completely kills momentum, and if you sprint, you're going to stop. So if you wanna stop, even on the bad days, just do the bare minimum. Read a page of notes, study for 20 minutes, just do something, because stopping won't help you. These little things sound unimportant, but it builds momentum. Momentum is everything. Missing one day is not the end of the world, but missing 2 days, that becomes a habit. Last semester, I waited till the end and relied on one exam to pass me the class, and then something unexpected happened, and I missed it. If I had been consistent, that one bad event would have cost me the class. Perfection isn't the goal, but you need to hold yourself accountable and remain consistent. It's better to drop from an A to a C than a C to an F, because now you're just trying to survive, and there's a big difference between just trying to survive and trying to stand out. Number 8, the most important part. So now we know how important consistency is, but now we don't want to just pass the class, we want to excel at it. This sounds stupid, but I stopped trying to get good grades and just started acting like someone who gets good grades. A person who succeeds and a person who fails, they still have the same goal. An F student and an A student, they have the same goal, but the only difference is their actions. So I asked myself, what would an A student do? Well, they would probably sit in the front row, ask questions, go to office hours weekly, plan exam preps 10 days early, stay organized, do so much volume that it would seem unnecessary to fail. If you say that you're an A student, then prove it. If you do 200 practice problems until you can't get any wrong, do you really think you'll fail? So then go into ChatGPT, upload all those notes, and just do practice problems until you can't fail. An academic comeback isn't dramatic, it's disciplined. If you focus on systems and get 1% better every day, you'll succeed. Not because you're smarter, but because you stop lying to yourself. So now I'm going to challenge you to stay consistent and use the techniques I taught you, like the 48-hour rule, the pyramid review, doing 200 practice problems, teaching an imaginary class, and active recall to make it easier to stay consistent. But remember, if you feel like you've hit a point where you've gone too far, where you think you cannot pass the class, give it 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, I promise you, 2 weeks, you can go from an F to maybe a C to maybe an A. You just have to apply yourself and just be the best you possibly can. Just 2 weeks of consistency will bring you out of that hole and make you better. So don't give up. Giving up is the worst thing you can do. I thought I had to give up, but then I realized I can be consistent and be better. And that's what I did. So don't give up. If you like this video, click right here to watch me study 12 hours a day, living like Alex Hormozi.